So today I'm joined with Booth and Kay, two incredibly active dads who both come from finance backgrounds. Kay left the Wall Street grind, slow things down in Manhattan Beach, became a bit of a surfer, AI wizard, and then Booth's built a little more of a flexible schedule, lets him juggle work, kids, family, all that kind of stuff. So both you guys, 2 to 3 kids each, full plates, train consistently, whether it's in the gym or outside of the gym. So basically what I like to do on these things is sometimes I'm trying to understand people's struggles and where they're at in life and how they make showing up in the gym or training a priority. But since you guys are both like active and have been active for a while, I want to use this time to reverse engineer a little bit of what makes you guys tick, maybe how you manage and juggle work, family, training, and what keeps you showing up when life is just chaotic. I'll throw it over to Kay. Maybe you can give us a little background of what life looks like for you now with all that's going on, like outside of the gym.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Great to meet you, Booth. Let's see, outside of the gym. So I started a few months ago a new company, a new consultancy, which basically helps buy-side firms use AI, adopt and use AI. And so a lot of what I will discuss is like a new phase of life for me. We can zoom out and do the background and the transition of that. But I think a big thing for me has always been I've adapted my career to fit the needs of my family, to suit those needs. And so
Yeah.
before I had kids, I worked my butt off on Wall Street, like nonstop all the time, long hours, dinners, work dinners, travel, all that stuff.
Hmm.
My kids were born and I quit, I moved, I set up more of a lifestyle, time for money type business. And I did that for 10 years while my kids were babies and needed me physically a lot. And now I have an 11-year-old and an 8-year-old, and they still need us a lot, but they're in activities. They do a lot of dance. They're in activities. They get home at 6:30 every night. So they're gone from 7:30 to 6:30, and we're not even over scheduled tiger parents. So that kind of opened up this new window in life for me, which is, oh, I have more time freedom. I'm more willing to travel. My friend just invited me to a 50th birthday where we're going to go to some private BMW racetrack in South Carolina. I'm like,
Cool.
if that had arisen 3 years ago, I would just said thanks, but no thanks. Like, I'm needed
Yeah.
here. I want to be here.
Yeah.
Now I go away and they're like, "Oh, you were gone." As long as I can, as long as I can request Apple Pay and
Yeah.
you respond to them, like it doesn't matter where you are. That's been the organizing principle, and I'm happy to go into the details, but that's how I think about it.
Yeah. How about you, Booth? You got your hands
Well,
full. You got 3 kids, right?
3 kids, 12, 10, and 8. I won't say it as eloquently as Kay did, but yeah, what you said is very relatable. Just you start off, you get a career with a big Wall Street firm and you run around and you do dinners and you travel and you try to work out and be a dad and do all those kinds of things, but the career kind of consumes you. And over the past 3 or 4 years, I've done a good job of separating from big Wall Street and building my own practice and advisory lifestyle where I can have a lot of balance. And that includes the balance is what's just been incredible. It's like the ultimate flexibility. I have bills to pay, so I still work. And I've got happily married to Marnie for 15 plus years now, 3 kids that are 12, 10, and 8. Okay, I don't know how you get them out at 7:30, not home till 6:30. I'm looking at my clock right now, figuring out how I'm going to get one of them to soccer from 4 to 6, another one to gymnastics that intertwines in that time, and the third one has something else. So you must have a really good chauffeur.
I'm very lucky in that my wife and I'm still the primary breadwinner and she's the primary caretaker. A lot of the first level of defense falls on her, and then I play backup. And we just got lucky that our girls both go to the same dance studio. It's just that simple.
Oh, well done. Well done.
I was going to say, sounds like both of you guys went through that phase of just surviving young kids and now in that spot where you're able to take on more for yourselves at this point in time.
That's fair, yeah.
Yeah.
I could like season, very like clear seasons of life. And it sounds crazy to say, but in 10 years, I'll be an empty nester. Like it doesn't, I just feel like I did that first 10 years from like 0 to 10 and then like 10 to 20.
Yeah.
I'll be an empty nester. And I don't even know, like I would like to get an apartment in New York when I'm an empty nester. So I'll probably be splitting time between Manhattan and Beach and Manhattan in 10 years, but who the heck knows too? A lot can change in 10 years.
Yeah, yeah. So what's your family routines then for you to get in your workouts? What has to happen for that, for you guys to carve out time?
Yeah, yeah. So I work like I'm so unstructured, which is just the only way I work. Like I know some people are like meticulous, right? They have a schedule that they follow. I know like I have to move, I have to go. It's like it's gonna be golf, tennis, pickleball. I'm gonna take the dog for a hike. I'm gonna lift weights. I'm gonna do something around my house. And sometimes it's a combination of all of those things. And I get it in when I can. It's as simple as that. And you just get a good read like on what your day is going to be. Like right now, I've got some surprise HVAC workers here doing some work that they didn't expect. It's Veterans Day. Happy Veterans Day. 3 kids running around, coming and going with their friends are over here today. And we already did the wiffle ball game. I pushed them in the swing for as long as I could. And now I'm like, all right, we're gonna do some chauffeuring tonight. And I'm gonna have a 2-hour window from when I take to practice. I have 2 hours of dead time. I love to read. I love to podcast. I love to learn, but that's tonight. That's my workout, right? So I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do, and then I'm going to pick them up, and I'm going to be sweaty, and that's just the life that I live. And that's what works for me, and it's fun. Like I will be doing laps around some kind of a high school or college field while the kids are practicing. Fortunate to find game time strength in your locations and be able. It's flexible. I can go in and carve out a workout that is on my schedule, but it has like structure and rigor that your astounding board and your team does such a nice job with programming that allows me to stay somewhat on track.
Yeah.
Which I need. So that's just been an incredible balance. But a lot of it, it's funny. Like Kay said, you'll be an empty nester in 10 years, and that's the same here. It's wild to think about. But with my kids and going from I'm traveling and I'm working and I have this what I think is like an important corporate job and I'm never there and they're little. And now I come back and I'm able to spend a lot of time with them. I'm like, they're going to be like pretty big and fast and strong. And I look around at when I see some of the parents, and especially in Southern California, I'd say relative to maybe the rest of the country, it's a pretty lean, healthy environment. But still, I see the parents that are out there and they were fit and they're active, they're playing with their kids, they're keeping up with them. And it's a completely different experience. And then you see maybe some other parents that haven't been as disciplined and they're not in as good of a shape and they're not able, they're a bystander and they watch and cheer instead of out there being active with the kids. And so honestly, a lot of my motivation for working out and staying active is just being able to keep up with my kids.
Yeah.
Because they're just getting bigger and faster. And I'm like, I want to hang. And the only way I can hang with them is if I can go out and do physical things. And then Jay, as I talk to you now, I'm like, how can we think about getting my kids educated and their training as part of their lives? Yeah, a bit of a tangent, but it's just like really cool to think about how like fitness has evolved and families evolved and now like learning, but then being able to pass what I'm learning on to my kids and to make them better, fitter, healthier humans.
Yeah. It's funny. Every person I talk to, especially since I've become a dad, it's just this thing where I realize, I'm training to keep up with my kids. Like,
Yeah, totally.
my training has shifted dramatically in the last 2 years because I can't afford. I watched him. I tell the story all the time of him walking down we're in Bass Pro Shop, and he used to be able to kind of shuffle a little bit to keep up with him, and then all of a sudden he just starts going and cuts down a lane. I'm like, geez, I'm not warmed up or anything. So being able to just sprint after a young child out of nowhere is something you need to train for. And most of my training over the last 10 years was just very much in the gym setting. So being able to run, change of direction, be able to plan for sport in the next couple of years, making sure that he's active. It's like bringing all that back in after probably a 10-year hiatus has been like a really interesting experience these last 2 years, and trying to make time for all of those things. But it seems to be the common theme is people that are parents that are like guys like yourself or the two of you are training to keep up with your kids. And also I hear a lot just training to be 90, to not have someone take care of you when you're 90 years old. Right.
Yeah.
But what about you, Kate? What keeps you ticking?
Yeah, I think I still start with what are the constraints that I'm working with. I'll look at the schedule and it's funny and embarrassing, but we're New Yorkers, so we're a 1-car family. So a lot of our logistics is around who's going to use the car. And I basically plan my workouts. I'm like, what days is there more car freedom? What days is it closer to me? So I don't go to Westchester or PV. And so last semester was Mondays and Thursdays in Redondo. This year it's Tuesdays and Thursdays, also Segundo. So that's how I start, right? It just, you look at the hand you've been dealt and you like work backwards from the hand. It doesn't work all the time, but that's the good anchor, like Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays tend to be more flexible. I don't love driving to Westchester on a Friday afternoon, just from the amount of driving. But if I missed one of those 2 days, like, it's an easy win to do it. So that's on the gym side. Then surfing, I surf a lot. I have control over my schedule for the most part. And so I don't really schedule anything before 10:30. So drop the kids off at school. If there's waves, I surf. If there's no waves and it's not a GTS day, I'll run like peer to peer, basically 4 or 5 miles. And then if there are waves and it's a GTS day, I will surf and go to GTS.
Show off.
Wow. Wait, is your peer-to-peer, are you on the strand? Are you on like the hard sand or the soft sand or like a combo?
No, I'm on the concrete, on the strand, not on the beach.
Still impressive.
Yeah.
So I do that. And then I would say that the other kind of like anchor practice is meditation. So I've been meditating 20 to 40 minutes a day for 11 years.
Wow. Good for you.
And so I will meditate first thing in the morning, pretty much every day, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then in the evenings, it's been a little bit harder just because I've been working more. So I'm just more tired and I want to like watch TV or something. But in the evenings, I try to do 10 to 20 minutes as well. And that's a real anchor practice.
Yeah. I wish I got into it a while back. I was able to take it and just shut things down when I need to mentally. Would love to carve out actual time to do it. I always equate it to just wiping off your desk or clearing out your browsers, all the tabs right there, and putting one clean sheet of paper on there to actually, it just clears your brain out of all the stuff that you're dealing with. But I found that I would
take that a step further, though, as I would say the first couple years is like the desk clearing part. And then the years after that, it's like, now that the desk is clear, like, where will my thoughts go?
Yeah.
It's almost like,
cool.
It's almost like you clear out the attic, but then like you go spend time in the attic, right?
Yeah.
And so that's the evolution of it. And there's elements of it that are very spiritual and very akin to like doing psychedelics and things like that, which I do, not a lot, but I've done them like in guided settings. But yeah, it just like, the stuff gets so much better and more potent with
time. Nice.
Sure.
Now, do you do that? Do you have like a guided like audio that you listen to, or how do you do it?
I've done many different flavors. I usually tell people like a good kind of starting dose is a practice called TM, or transcendental meditation, where it's basically like a mantra. So you have the personal mantra like Om or something, and you just repeat it over and over in your head for 20 minutes. That's it. And it's like very accessible. It's 20 minutes. You don't need any stuff. I think as a guy, maybe that would be, I don't know, the equivalent of, I don't know, like a Barry's boot camp or something. I mean, that's like too intense, but let's just say that's the equivalent of Barry's boot camp. Like after a while, you're like, I don't want to just do Barry's boot camp. You're like, I might want to do some heavy lifting. I might want to do some yoga. I might want to do some running. And then there are countless, the same way there's like countless ways to exercise, there's countless ways. So actually I have meditation teachers. So I'm like, okay, like I finished this track. I want to go down this track. Can you help me?
Damn, that's cool. I'll have to get in. You have to pass on some of those things. I'd love to try it out a little more.
Totally.
Cool. So I think you guys are both fit dads, and I think most people would be surprised as how often you're in the gym. You guys are both active, right? So I think I want to point out that both you guys probably, and Booth, you can correct me if I'm wrong, it's like maybe 2-3 days a week in the gym, and the rest is just regular physical activity that you're doing outside of the gym, right? Trying to squeeze in with family at home, when you're at a field with your kids, that kind of thing, right?
Because I would love to lift 3 days a week minimum would be ideal, and just a byproduct of where we live and beautiful weather and active kids and access to fun outdoor. We are outdoor doing activities, not nonstop.
Yeah. Because I think sometimes people have this thing in their brain that they need to train 5, 6 days a week in the gym or some in that kind of setting. And there's a lot you can do to just do stuff with your family where you can start including, like we do family walks together oftentimes. Like I'll get 2 to 3 miles with my son, pushing him around in a stroller during the day or at night before we go to bed. My wife and I will go out, we'll just chat for a little bit and catch up. So I figure out how to mix activity in with family time so it doesn't detract from it really. But it sounds like you guys are both in that spot where you have the ability, you have a window of time where you can actually carve out a workout for yourself, right?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely can always carve out. I don't always have the choice of what that workout is.
Yeah.
And so
get
then
something
it's just be creative, go for a run. I've been traveling more now. So I've always got my running shoes, like cold gear for the East Coast, because that's always going to be the go-to when I'm on the East Coast. I stay at my parents' place, so they don't have a gym. But I'll tell you a funny story that you guys can probably relate to. Is, again, the seasons of life thing. Like when I had 2 young kids, I was not surfing and going to the gym twice. Like I joined GTS 3 years ago, maybe. So my kids were 10 or 8 and 5, right? So they were past the baby phase. But I tell you, like the early days of the baby phase, like it was like, and I was like less injury prone in my early 30s. But I would like, if I didn't have time to work out, I would do 1 or 2 rounds of Tabata burpees.
Yeah.
So that's 20 minutes on, 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off. And like, dude, I got up to 81 burpees in 4 minutes.
Jesus.
And like, you don't need to work out. Like that's like a full day's workout.
Yeah.
And so that was the only thing. Like I lived in New York, so we lived in an apartment. I didn't have
Wait, are you doing that? Are you doing this burpees in your apartment? I bet your neighbors loved you. Just slamming.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I was definitely doing it. We had a duplex though. So I was doing it on the top floor on the duplex. But that was like, I can't do burpees now anymore. Like hurts my elbow. I don't really want to do burpees anymore. But there was a 4 or 5 year period where this is the fastest, most efficient exercise for me right now. And this is all I'm going to get. It's this or nothing. And so I went for that. I mean, it didn't have to be that. Like the CrossFitter, the ex-CrossFitter in me still had a little pizzazz left in my step. And I would also I would do a lot of Tabatas because it was just like so efficient to like get your heart rate up very quickly.
Yeah.
I would hold my child and I would do air squats, like goblet squats, like child goblet squats.
Yeah.
And they loved it. Like a 1-year-old, they're like, oh, so again, couldn't do that now. Don't really want to do that now, but at the time, I'm like, okay, I got to watch my kid. I want to exercise and they need to be entertained. Like, how can I make all these pieces align in the 4 free minutes that I have right now?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, just making the best use of whatever you got, pretty much, right? Take me back to the beginning when you guys first found us, because I feel like I'm always curious to know, everyone has a different value proposition of our business or our coaching or our gyms or whatever it is. Right. Because a lot of times people come in for the education part and they stick around for whatever that is, like accountability, like problem solving, checkpoints, accountability, whatever that thing is. So I'm curious, like maybe Booth, let's start with you. What was the thing how did you find us and how do you use us now? What keeps you around?
Yeah. So I relocated, right? I lived in the South Bay in Manhattan Beach. I was Key's neighbor. And then I moved to Palos Verdes 6 months ago. And when you move, you kind of want to find your spots, like your restaurant and your gym and your new stuff. And I was like, I'm going to search around. And I just searched and there were lots of interesting places. And I've done all the various boot camps and the F45s and the CrossFits, all that stuff. But it was like Tony Horton, the home workout I was thinking about when we were in Chicago. In a brownstone doing your burpees on the neighbor. I was doing all that. I can't remember what the name of it was, but anyway.
Is that P90X stuff?
P90X.
P90X, yeah. And like
we're all dating ourselves. We're like a bunch of elder millennials on this call or Gen Xers even.
Yeah, totally. That's all right. Just gray hair. We'll date it. Yeah. Okay. So I wanted to find a new gym and then to jump way back, born and raised in a really small town in Oklahoma on the Texas border. And it's like a Friday Night Lights town. The town was shut down for football on Fridays. It was just weightlifting and being strong was just like part of the culture, like football and wrestle, baseball. So I grew up in this, like what I call just a meathead gym. It was just like heavy weights, and it didn't have the sophistication or the education that Game Time Strength has as far as the credentialed staff, the knowledgeable staff, but it did have heavy weights and people with that worked hard. And that's kind of what I grew up in. And when you go down this path and you end up doing these like different, very programmed, like F45s and Barry's boot camps, and you try all these different fitness things, I kind of was getting further and further away from what my roots of being strong were.
Yeah.
And so when I found you, I was like, wait, this is like what I grew up with that I really appreciated, and I worked hard and I got strong, and it made me good at sports, better at whenever it was. But I was like, this staff, like these people are smart. And I never put the two together where you could have this powerlifting setting and it wasn't just go in and pick up as much weight as you can and eat as much protein as you can. And I'm like, oh no, this is what was missing from the gym that I grew up in. And so it quickly attracted me to it. And then besides that, meeting the staff, the accessibility of it, the locations, the programming, everything just worked. And I quickly realized the value prop, like with what you're offering to keep me an unstructured guy, structured, programmed, but able to do it in my schedule with people I like. And so I was just, there's nothing else out there like this. So I knew I was hooked when we did our first like class. I was like, oh, this place is rad. Like this is exactly what I was hoping it would be.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it's we're still meatheads at our core.
That's what I tell my friends. You don't understand.
Eat a lot of protein.
Out. These guys are total meatheads, but you don't understand. They're very smart. They're very and they're like, oh, that sounds like they don't let me hurt myself. They make sure you have to use proper form and fundamentals. They educate you, and you can't just do that. Anyway, that's the story.
It's funny because when I describe GTS, I say it's like powerlifting for nerds.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
it's like they want like the science of it and the technical like movement behind it and like the recovery of the science behind the recovery, things like that.
Yeah, it's funny. When I first got into coaching, I should say, I was leaving the IT industry, and the qualifier that I decided was going to be the thing that I'm just going to leave my job for is I wanted to get this certified strength and conditioning specialist certification. And most people take this after they graduate with a kinesiology degree. And I was like, I'm going to get this textbook. I'm going to figure this out on my own and see if I can take this exam and be okay at it. And that'll be my qualifier. If I do this, I'll move on. And I learned all this stuff. I went on all these seminars. And then when I started training people, I realized most people struggle with the fundamentals. And I got into this thing with all of this knowledge and background and all this like cool stuff that I was into. And Luis is probably the same type of person. He goes down the rabbit hole, learns all these things, right? If you guys work with Luis.
Yeah.
But then I realized like, I'm just speaking in a language that most people don't understand or not interested in it at all. So most people they struggle with showing up. You guys don't struggle with showing up. Like you guys are in that bucket of people that are like, we're taking it up a notch and we dial in the very specific things. But it's just interesting how you get into all of this stuff for the nerdy, or at least I got into it for all the nerdy aspects of it. And I still go down the rabbit holes. But most of the time I'm teaching the basics and getting people in building some type of structure. Like you figured out a way to work without structure. And I think that's the cool part about the system too, is we have so much flexibility. Is we'll create a plan, but you have the ability to deviate from that plan at any point in time. Ultimately, we give you the keys to the city and teach you how to like manage it on your own. And then every once in a while, we'll have to reel you back in. But how about you, Kay? What's your value proposition with us? How'd you find us? How did it start, and what's it like now?
So for me, there are all these, I'm from New York City. So all these signs were pointing to GTS like the minute I landed in LA. And so the first was Justin. And it was like, what a long shot. Like some guy that I barely know I'm moving to LA, a city with 9 million people or probably more. And he's, there's this awesome gym there called GTS. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. I haven't been to a gym in a decade. But just filed it in the mental register because I respected the guy. But think about it. How many gyms are there in LA? I didn't even tell them where I was moving. Yeah. And then another one of my friends, Tedisco, he's like, hey, like there's a gym in El Segundo. And I'm like, wait, that's the same gym that the other person said. And I live next to El Segundo. I'm like, holy crap. But I was still like in the young kids phase. I'm like, I don't have time to go to a gym. Yeah. And so I just let it sit. And once again, it's like really for me, like I really live my life around the seasons of the needs from my family. Mm-hmm. And once the kids, like, I think they both started going to school. So they just had more time. And I'm like, yeah, that weightlifting gym, what was that thing? And so I found it and I'm like, yeah, this sounds cool. And then I had done CrossFit and I love back squatting. But I'm just at my age, I'm like, I am not going to back squat on my own. I'm not, but I also am like not going to hire a trainer just to do back squat at 24 fitness, whatever.
Yeah.
And so like all the roads led there. So I wanted to do powerlifting. I was absolutely imperative that like form be a thing, but I didn't necessarily want just a personal trainer. And then these people had been planting the GTS seed in my mind, like a mind virus for years before. So it's wild to think about that, Jay, like that, like this East Coaster planted the seed who we're friendly, but he's not even my friend.
Yeah.
Like we've only hung out twice in my life. And so, and then I think once I got in, I think the training, I'm like, this is the kind of training that I want to do. For me, surfing is still primary. It's weightlifting's like secondary.
Yeah.
My wife, she didn't like that I was surfing so much because I would get thinner, like leaner. And can you like put on a little muscle? And so I'm like, yeah, I'm not opposed to putting on some muscle either. And got in and I was doing lifting. I'm 46. And up until earlier this year, I was lifting more than I was lifting in college, where I was lifting 2 hours a day. Then I had a few unfortunate, like I pushed myself a little too hard. And so now I'm having this new reckoning where I'm like, okay, the goal here is not to lift as much weight as possible.
Yeah.
I think I had that probably a little later than I should have. Now the goal is to be functionally healthy and just live till 90. And so to be honest, I'm still struggling with that a little bit because I'm the numbers go up kind of guy. And I don't like to numbers flat for a long time, but know that especially when it comes to I hurt my back again, Jay, actually surfing.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's because I had pushed myself a little too hard lifting. Then the next day I pushed myself very hard surfing.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, shit, this is the thing I didn't want to happen.
Yeah.
So I'm in a phase where I need to I don't want this to keep happening.
Yeah.
And I know that I'm the guilty party here, pushing myself too hard. So I'm in this kind of interesting phase where, again, I'm glad to have the coaches that are like, guys, I push myself too hard. And like, I need you to rein me in.
Yeah.
Or else I'm going to just keep hurting myself.
Yeah. We have this, I think there's this thing for athletes that you get so used to playing through injury and playing through pain, because if you don't, someone else is going to take your job on the field. Right. And so I think that kind of infiltrates its way into our life where we just end up either playing a little too hard all the time. Like every day is game day, and it shouldn't be. Like most days should be practice. Then every once in a while is a game day, and you can't play 2 game days back to back because it gets brutal. But yeah, we've seen that so many times because I feel like the early stages of any type of lifting is you're in this novice phase. It's like gas to the floor. Everything improves all the time, all at once. You get used to this progress. It's awesome. You're in it, right? Really it's super motivating because everything's objective and going up. And then at some point you start operating at your potential and things start to slow down, but we get injured because we force that progress that we're not quite ready for. And so that's really where I think you and all of us have talked about that process of either ownership or survival reps, right?
Yeah.
Really like owning something, like, did I own this? Okay, cool. Then we have the permission to move up. But did I just barely survive it? And you're like, I'm just trying to force progress. Then we have to reel you in a little bit, right? Yeah. And it's hard to do it because you don't want to hold people back, right? Mm-hmm. You're motivated. That's a hard thing to instill in people. And I've got all these people. Some people I'm trying to rein in and pull back, and other people I'm trying to push forward because they're not training hard. And so trying to figure that out for each person is unique.
What's cool, like numbers go up is great. And like you guys call me like a bro or whatever, right? Because my upper body's stronger than my legs. I'm like dying to get my legs stronger. But I have substantially, while that's important to me, the numbers, I think golf would be my surfing, right? I love golf. I've been playing it forever. And like Jay, you probably see me, right? And I'm always like doing air swings in the gym, right? Trying to straighten my spine. And I start talking to you about something like, hey, when I do this lift, I can use the ground more. My legs are stronger and I hit it farther. But the numbers go up for me is what's been really cool is the strength training has improved my golf game noticeably.
Yeah.
My frame, I am stronger. I can stay in the fundamental positions. I can rotate. I can use the ground. And I'm not nearly as old as you. I'm only 44, but
yeah,
it's not right, but it's been fun. I played in a golf tournament yesterday, and I was hitting the ball well off the tee, and I was playing with a lot of really good players, guys that have won on the PGA Tour and stuff, and they were just like, "Hey, like you're really hitting the ball today," and I was like, "Yeah, guys, I've got to tell you, it's the modified MSDLs. modified sumo deadlifts. And it became a joke, but it wasn't. And they were like, hey, wait, so are you really doing that? I was like, I really am actually. But it was just like this funny banner. So I'd rip a drive and they'd be like, deadlifts. It's cool. Yeah, it's fun.
I want to be respectful of both your time. I know it's about 40 minutes in right now, but so if there was another dad in your shoes, busy career, family, thinking about starting up, what would you tell them? What's your advice to your former selves or someone that's in a similar bucket?
Yeah, gosh, just if you can be mature enough to master the fundamentals and then just be consistent with it, that intentionality, right, Jason, that you train is so much more important than, like, hey, going heavy, who cares if you can deadlift 400, like at what cost?
Yeah.
If you deadlift 400, you're not going to go to the golf course and shoot 72. I promise you that. So it's like, I think it's just having the mindset of the maturity to learn the fundamental movements because that's incredibly important. And then just do them every day or be it consistently.
Yeah. It's like that diminishing returns, right? There's a point where for me, adding another 50 pounds on one of my lifts isn't going to make me any better in my life. It's not going to make me a better dad. It's not going to make me better at anything. But so there's a certain point where I think it's important where we focus on moving well, getting strong, and then figuring out how to pivot and maintain that skill and be okay with the slower progress over long. But you just showing up is magically going to take care of most of that stuff. How about you, Kay? What's your advice to other dads out there?
I think one of the maxims that I've lived by is try to move your body every day. And that could be Tabata burpees because all you got is 4 minutes, or it could be just going for a walk because you hurt your back and that's the W for today. I do think that there's exercise and fitness and like meditation is like one of these things where you reach this tipping point where your day is worse when you don't do it. And that is the best like self-reinforcing mechanism where you're just like, I don't want to have a bad day, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just like, I got this video on YouTube. If you Google it or YouTube, it's a 20-minute intense HIIT workout. It's by Fitness Blender. It's just like corny. It looks like 1980s video. And it's just like these little jumps but you sweat your ass off in 18 minutes. It's like the perfect hotel room workout, no equipment necessary. And I might do that thing like 12 times a year, but that's a win the day I do that.
For sure.
And so just move your body every day. And then I think the other pieces fall into place. Again, for me, it's been weightlifting and surfing, but that will also change. And then, it just becomes like when fitness becomes something that you need to do, not from the place of I suck if I don't do this, but I don't feel good if I don't do this, then you like cross over into this kind of alternate universe that unfortunately a lot of people don't ever cross into. Yeah. And so it's just this chore that they have to do. And but I do think the way to cross into that is just by keeping the bar low, move your body every day.
Yeah. Oh, I 100% agree. That's our mantra, the 10 or more minutes of some type of intentional training daily, right? I find that like when you set the floor so low and to your point with the meditation, right? If you just show up each day and you do it, at some point you're just going to get bored and be like, all right, I could do a little more, or I'm interested in this now. And we did this thing this year where I called it the daily mile. So I was getting bored of doing my 10 minutes a day and just doing gym work or whatever. So I was like, you know what? I haven't done any intentional cardio here, so I should probably do some intentional cardio each day. So we started with just, hey, you just have to walk a mile. You could break it up throughout the day, however you want to do it. You could always do more, but the goal is to do some type of mile every single day. And that started for me as pretty much that a mile to maybe a mile and a half a day, just checking the box. And at some point I was like, all right, I'll turn this into a run to a sprint. I went down to the field. I'm doing like change of direction drills, like dodging drills, that kind of stuff. Started walking backwards, threw the weight vest on. And every day is like this new thing that, I just change it based on how I feel. My son comes out with me. Sometimes I'm sprinting with the stroller. He loves it. He packs all his toys up. I say we're going to go look for coyotes because there's coyotes all over our neighborhood. So he's just all into that. So we go around and look for coyotes. So now I get to bond with him. I get a sprint workout in, some walking, check the box. Sometimes I listen to a podcast where we listen to some music together. I feel like at this point, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like everything I do at this point in my life has to check multiple boxes. And if it doesn't, I can't really justify it anymore. But thank you guys so much for your time. Any other last words that you want to sprinkle in here? No.
I guess on the kids' part, if I ask my kids, like, hey, how was your day? Or do you have school? Hey, it was good. I get nothing. But doing activities with them, kicking a ball, going for a walk, chasing coyotes, whatever, hitting pickleballs. And that's where the best conversations happen.
Yeah.
So checking multiple boxes when you're out with your boy and you're pushing him in the stroller, eventually he'll be running with you. That's where the good moments, the real conversations come out. And I think it's just the way we're wired. Like you're saying, when we move, we feel better. And it's the same thing with kids, and you bond, and you're getting to do what you like to do. And also you're really good at communicating and strengthening the relationship with your kids too.
Oh man.
And why? Through just family in general. Yeah.
I agree. It's funny. Like every night I'll end up talking to him now. He's super chatty about different things. And yeah, but when I pick him up from school, he's just whatever. He's all dead. But once we start moving, that's cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you guys so much for your time. I appreciate that. I know this is hard, especially since the kids are home today. But yeah, grab some t-shirts on me for your time. Appreciate it. You guys are probably about due for an upgrade anyway. So busting out of those sleeves.
That's right.
Okay. Well, I'll see you guys in the gym.
Thanks, Jason.
Thanks,
Great to meet you.
Great meeting you.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.